Hi, welcome to Tea Time with Taryn. I have a oracle card from my Rumi deck to share, and it is in relation to transformation, which is something I've been picking up on recently through the cards. There's probably a lot of people in the collective right now going through a spiritual transformation. So this is number 1, beyond death, life. Footprints lead to the shore of the sea. Beyond that point, no trace remains. Rumi. I'm reading from the guidebook. Within your heart, there I speak. My voice rings true. You are urged beyond what has been. The time has come. Lay it to rest now. This ending comes as grace to free you from all that you have known, for what you have known is now too small for your soul. Bear your uncertainty with equanimity. Allow me to show you the light that you are, that burns within you, blazing angel of heavenly purity. I will unveil you to yourself, undressing your ego, casting aside its layers, as tender as a lover, with unwavering attention upon the sacred body of light. You shall know yourself in truth as pure beyond all experience, untainted, ever innocent, as a pure vessel stripped bare, ready for the divine revelation, as light, as life, as love. The purpose of the soul incarnating in this world in the first place is to realize its divinity through the sacred crucible of life. The older the soul, the closer it is to the realization of divine oneness, and the more powerful its determination to shed that which would constrain complete and conscious immersion into the divine presence. Perhaps you are already in surrender and falling in, or perhaps you are fearful and resisting as you greet your unknown destiny. Yet this moment is happening because your own divine soul has chosen for it to be this way, so that love may grow. There is no punishment in this ending, nor is there anything to fear. There may be pain, there may be grief and loss, there may be uncertainty and even insecurity. Yet you have a heart big enough to bear such growing pains. Yes, you shall know the truth, the knowledge that the divine is with you, guiding every unfolding moment of your life journey. No matter how dark it may first appear, the divine is with you in unflinching generosity, with compassion, and with fierce passion for your blossoming into all that you are, all that you can be. So what must you do to receive this divine grace, this new life? You must be willing to face death. It may be that death has come to you in the form of loss of a beloved one, a physical loss that takes you into darkest despair or depths of your grieving heart. It may be death that comes to you in the ending of a financial or professional situation you once relied upon. It could also be in the sense that you don't really know who you are anymore. Old identities have shown themselves to be inadequate, inaccurate, mere ego masks too small for the great being that you are starting to suspect you may be, and that you are. You are. Your death may be a choice to let go, to take a step in a new direction, to move house, to end a relationship, to change career, or to step away from a religious or philosophical tradition or a group of or teacher. Your death may not feel as though has come by choice at all. Your transition through this death may be triggered by an inner feeling that you cannot quite pin down. Nonetheless, it powerfully propels you away from what has been and towards untapped possibilities. Perhaps even towards great confusion as you encounter life in a new way, feeling even somewhat unprepared and uncertain as to what may lie ahead for you now. You have enough spiritual intelligence to shift perspective and to choose. If you wish to rest your inner gaze upon what lies beyond the death, gaze instead upon the new life that is calling you. When you know deep within that no matter what experiences you have had in your life, that you are untainted, you will be more easily able to trust in the love that the divine has for you. You won't question your worthiness, and therefore you will trust in life more easily and more fully, no matter how much it asks of you at times. The divine is a restless lover. Sometimes that means we will have to give up lesser lover for the greater lover, the divine one that calls us to remember our true nature. You are a beautiful, blazing soul having a human experience that defies explanation and opens you up to divinity. Either way, there is an ending imminent and new life coming to you, with greater opportunity for your radiant soul to shine its beauty in the world. Grasp it eagerly, beloved. Now is not the time for fear or hesitation. Focus on what is becoming whilst honoring what is no longer to be. So, yeah, I've been channeling through oracle and tarot readings. Well, not recently, but fairly recently. We were being called to let go of the past. People, places, things that no longer serve us. And the reason that has to happen, that death has to happen, is because when you get into alignment with your highest self, none of us are perfect, by the way. Perfection isn't required. That's something I feel called to say. If you're trying every day, if you're making changes, if you're making healthy endings in your life, relationships, past ways of thinking, addictions, jobs, whatever it may be, there's no perfection required. God doesn't expect us to be perfect. And when I read the Rumi oracles and it says the divine, God, source, the creator, the most high, it's all relative. It's the same thing. But I know there's been times where I feel like I have to be perfect to do this or to do that, but it's not about perfection. It really isn't. And when we are called, and I feel like a lot of us in the collective right now are being called to our divine path, to our divine purpose, to our higher selves, because we have missions to do here. And if you know, you know. If you feel that in your soul that you're meant for something greater, you are. And all you have to do is let go and let God. You just have to fall into trust. And I know I say just do it, but it can be hard. especially when we're auto-programmed from early ages, from all different aspects of life, to fear. And I want to talk about fear. Fear is not of God. Fear is of the devil. So if there's something you're afraid of, just know that's not of God. Just know that in your heart, because God isn't about fear. And when you operate from a place of fear, if you're operating from a place of anxiety, lack, there's never enough kind of mindset, it's going to be really hard for you to move forward. You have to let that old way of thinking go. And that's another thing. When I said you have to let things go, it could be just a way of thinking. It could be a person, a relationship. It could be the group of people you hang out with. I've had to let go of a lot of things from my past, and rightfully so. And I don't say that with any regret. And yeah, there were, I can think of some people and some times that were fun or whatever. But, when I think back over the last few years, when I was homeless, when I was in addiction, when I was an alcoholic, when I was unawakened, closed-minded, trying to fit in a box that society wants me to fit into, those are not happy times to me. I don't think of it that way. And I have changed a lot, and I've become, very hermitized, if that's even a word, but there are very few people that out there, I feel like at this point, that understand me on a soul level. There are still some, but it's okay. It's okay if you have to let go of people, if you have to move, if you have to let go of something that is no longer serving you. Just know and trust that it's for a reason. If your soul, if your intuition, which I heard recently, somebody said, your intuition is actually God's voice. And I believe that's true, because when you are going to do something, or you're around somebody, or whatever the situation is, and it's telling you no, and you do it anyway, and something bad happens, yeah, that was God trying to tell you no, that don't go down there, don't go with that person, don't do whatever. Or God doesn't just talk to us by telling us, what we shouldn't do. That's not what I'm saying. But just know that your gut, your intuition, the voice in your head, that silent voice, that if you meditate and listen and ask for guidance, it will tell you. But you have to listen, and then you have to act on it, right? So if you're being called away from a person, place, or thing, it's because God's got something much better for you. Trust me, it is true. God has done some amazing things for me over this past year. He's always done great things for me, but I was homeless a year ago. I was in addiction. I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything, but it's okay, because I'm grateful and thankful for every trial, for every time that I felt like it was the end, because it's built my character. And people who go through life with everything handed to them on a silver platter, what do they have to offer? They've had everything given to them. Someone who has taken the wrong path, but realized it was the wrong path and gotten off that path and jumped over to a different path, you're gonna encounter people, places, and things. You're gonna go through things that, those privileged people who've never really experienced life, you're gonna have a lot more compassion and a lot more knowledge. And, quite frankly, I believe it makes us spiritual warriors. And it's made me who I am today. And I'm proud of who I am today. I don't need anyone else's approval to know that I am who I am, that God loves me, that He's my Father, that He walks with me in the spiritual realm and on the earthly realm every day, every second of every hour. He is with me, and I love being with Him. I love being alone with Him, which is something I never thought I'd say. I used to be very needed somebody around me all the time, and now it's just like, if it's just a crazy how much things change. But I'm getting off this topic here. But yeah, so when we're called, when there's a death in our life, and it doesn't have to mean a literal death, but when there's an ending to something, a relationship, a job, a way of life, something that held you down, just know and trust that there's something greater. God doesn't take stuff away from His children. If He does, He's taking it away so to make room for something much better. And it has absolutely happened for me. I just encourage anyone that is going through a spiritual transformation right now, or an awakening, whatever you want to call it, know that you're not alone. Know that the divine is with you. They are supporting you. And when you feel like you've lost your way, and when you feel like you just want to give up, don't. Please don't. And it's okay if you slip and fall, because there is no perfection. Humans will never be perfect. We're not made to be perfect. But we can have God living in us. Christ consciousness, Jesus, He went through a transformation. And that's where that comes from. Some people call it getting saved or whatever, but it's the same thing. Christ died and transformed and ascended. Am I right? So essentially, that is the same experience that we are called to go through. We are called to burn up into ashes and transform and rise like the phoenix. So don't get discouraged, because I know I get discouraged sometimes too. And it's just part of life. But don't give up. Please don't give up. And please trust. There is no fear in love and no love in fear. God operates from a place of love. Fear comes from the devil. if you don't believe in God and the devil, and if you don't believe in good and evil, then maybe this probably isn't the channel to watch, but I am not closed-minded. You know, whatever you want to call it, light and dark, whatever. But just know that when we put our trust and free fall, do a trust fall into God's arms, let go and let God, and watch amazing things happen. When you listen to Him, when you follow His word, follow Christ's teachings. I mean, just as one example, I'm not saying that Christianity or any religion out there is the only way, because it isn't. You know, it's just not. So I don't want to get into that, because then it'll be a really long video. So, anyway, I hope this reaches somebody that needs to hear it. Let go, let God. Let go of things that no longer serve your highest good, your highest self. And just know that when you do that, there are going to be people from your past that are going to try to sucker you in to whatever it may be. Many things for some of us. And that's happened to me recently, and you know, it really upsets me, because you know, people who call themselves my friends and they support me and they support this channel and what I'm doing on this channel, and then they put me in a position to do something that I never should have done, ever, to be real, and try and tempt me, or try and, you know, dangle something in front of me and think I'm supposed to come running. Like, you know, it's just, it hurts a little bit, but at the same time, it's like, oh, they just don't get it. I can say I'm different. I can say I've changed. I can say I'm living my life differently. But I guess what really shows people is you being the example and actually doing it. So, yeah. And that's why I just had to ignore it and just not even respond. Because it's like, I deserve so much better. I deserve what God has for me, and nobody's going to keep me from that in any area of life. A job, a person, a home, a car, whatever it is. There are forces that want to stop me, but they're not going to. But, you know, that's what I mean. Is, you know, so when you make those changes, when you let go of things that no longer serve you, that doesn't mean those things are still not going to come after you and try to get you back in, you know. But you then have the choice to say, does this make me feel good? Is this what aligns with my soul? Is this right? Is this what I would want done to me? You know, just excuse me, just some things to keep in mind, because if you go into something, doing something, or to go do something, and it just doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel right, then don't do it. Don't do it, you know? And if anybody judges you for saying no and making a decision that's best for you, wish them love and light, and pray for their healing, and stop dealing with them. Because, yeah, That's just, it's just not right. And there's, there are things, I'm still the same person I was years ago, couple years ago. I'm just way better. I don't have addictions. I'm not operating in a lustful, infidelity, adultery kind of energy like I have in my past. And that's, something that some people are finding it hard to grasp, I guess. But anyway, I don't want to get off subject too much here, but like, you're probably gonna lose some people along the way if you're making these kind of decisions, and it's gonna hurt. Just like the books, when I was reading out of the book, it is gonna hurt, because I've gone through something personally this past year that was very painful to deal with and realize and see situations and people for who they really were, and to have to stop and realize some of those people never loved me, and I had a totally different idea about it. And it's just like, that's what I was saying about listening to your gut, discernment. Like, it's easy to make mistakes, guys, when you're in addiction and alcoholism. Your judgment is clouded. So, especially those out there in sobriety, give yourself a pat on the back. It doesn't matter how long it's been. If it's been 2 days you've been sober, pat yourself on the back. If you've relapsed a couple times, but you're still headed in the right direction, give yourself a pat on the back. Because you're doing good. You're doing so good. Just keep going. Just don't give up. But it's okay. We can slip and fall, and we can make mistakes. That's part of this human experience, right? Like, and anybody that calls you down or judges you, you probably should avoid those people for a little while. It's a tough thing for people who, have been in addictions or alcoholism, because, a lot of us have put our family members through a lot. Lying to them, promising them things that we never followed through on, taking money from them to support our habit, or whatever it is. It can be a multitude of things, but just realize at the same time, if that's who it is, and it could be, because when they're gonna change their heart, they're gonna change their mind eventually. But depending on how much of their trust you've broken, you've got to earn some of that back. But in the meantime, surround yourself with people who support you and what you're doing, and speak positivity over you. Do not allow anyone to call you down, to talk about you in anything less than positivity. Tell them. Speak up. Tell them that's not what I need to hear right now. I'm just gonna kind of go off. Go in the corner. Go hide from those people for a little bit. And when you come back out all strong and healthy and good to go, then you can show them, and then it'll shut them up right away. So then you don't have to have any, conflicting argument, conversation kind of situations, because I don't like that. Blessed are the peacemakers. So I don't like conflict and chaos. So I'm going to avoid it at all costs. However, at the same time, people who are trying to be divine Don't mistake kindness for weakness. Because I know what I know, and I know what God tells me. And I have many gifts. One of them is of discernment. But something he's been showing me lately is like, it's like I can see distorted energy in people now so clearly. It is like, it's kind of like scary sometimes, and paranormal kind of stuff. But like, anyway, so if anybody out there is going through that too, just know that you're not crazy. And it's, I've been thanking God, but at the same time, it's like, man, I don't want to see some of this stuff I'm seeing, But it's a wonderful gift, because I've had such a hard time in the past seeing other people's soul, because I can see people's heart. I can see what's really inside them. I can see their highest self. That's a gift I've had for a long time. I believe I've had all my gifts all my lives. I've just become more conscious and awakened to them recently. But being able to see the good in someone is a blessing. That is a gift. But you also have to realize at the same time, if there's anyone else out there that has the gift I do, if you're an empath, if you're highly sensitive to energies, it is a wonderful gift from God. However, there are people out there that you run into, and you're like, oh, the person next to you sees this homeless bum or drug addict, and you look at him and you see this person that is so cool, and just needed a chance in life, or just had something bad happen to them, and now they're on this road. Like, you don't know what you can't judge somebody unless you've walked in their shoes, unless you've gone through what they've been through. And then maybe you'd understand why they are the way they are, But like, the person next to me sees like a homeless drug addict. I see a soul that's in pain, that has potential, that just needs love, that just needs somebody that cares about him, or somebody to give him a chance. So, yeah, I don't know why I got off on that little rant, but maybe it'll help somebody. Yeah, so that was Beyond Death Life, an oracle from My Roomie deck by Elena Fairchild. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. If you resonate with anything I'm talking about, if you like my vibe, please do subscribe and like the video. I would highly appreciate it. And I hope you all have a magnificent day full of light, love, peace, and faith in God.